Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Generation in Between, a Xennial Podcast. And you are here for our second installment of our book component of Xennial Girl Summer. Coming at you. And wow, do we have a different book? If you listen to our first book segment, it was Are You There, Goddess? Me, Margaret, by Judy Blume. Not too long of a book, and just, a little bit different but similar thematically on some things. Well,
okay.
Sort of.
But let's tell them what we're doing today.
Why don't you tell them?
All right, everyone. We are going to talk today about the Xennial classic V.C. Andrews wrote called Flowers in the Attic. On my way here, I was talking to my sister on the phone, and I told her what we were about to do. And I was like, we're about to talk about Flowers in the Attic. And she went, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because I read this at an early age because my sister had it. Because listeners, if you're new here, I have a sister who's 7 years older than me. So totally in Gen X. And I would just go in her room and steal shit. So
yeah.
I was a big reader. I still am. And so I would go, ooh, what's this book? And the cover was super cool. Mm-hmm. Have you seen pictures of the old cover?
Yeah, with like you
can see the girl in the window. Uh-huh. And it was like a cutout.
Yeah.
And man. So anyway.
That's a cool cover.
So Flowers in the Attic. So for those of you who have no idea about this book and what we're going to talk about, buckle up.
Yeah.
And for those of you who've been there, get ready to revisit some shit from grown-up eyes now.
Yeah.
It's different than I remembered, and we'll get there.
Interesting. And just to like put us on the right playing field here, this is the first time I've read this book.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Katie's never read it.
Only adult eyes for this one.
This is wild. So much of our Xennial Girl Summer is stuff Katie's never read or seen.
Well, okay, so I had read Are You There, God?
Oh, true.
And then but I had not seen Porky's.
Right.
And then I hadn't read this one.
Right. And you haven't read Forever.
I haven't read Forever.
And you haven't.
Kaleidoscope was my pick.
You did read Kaleidoscope.
Yeah,
that's our
pick.
next one. Danielle Steele.
And then what are the other movies? American Pie I've seen.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I've seen Goonies of that. I have not seen Goonies.
See?
Yeah.
You're going to love Goonies.
I'm excited about it.
I think you might.
I think I will.
You probably won't like Fast Times. But whatever. Okay.
That's okay. We'll get there when we get there.
So here's the summary, the official summary of Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews. And then I'm going to do like we did for Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Give you a few little like tidbits, history. There wasn't a whole lot. Like we had a whole lot about Judy Blume. I didn't have a super lot. And then we're just going to talk about the book.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to discuss. Okay. Here we go. At the top of the stairs, there are 4 secrets hidden. Blonde, beautiful, innocent, and struggling to stay alive. They were a perfect family, golden and carefree, until a heartbreaking tragedy shattered their happiness. Now, for the sake of an inheritance that will ensure their future, the children must be hidden away out of sight, as if they never existed. Kept on the top floor of their grandmother's vast mansion, their loving mother assures them it will be just for a little while. But as brutal days swell into agonizing months and years, Kathy, Chris, and twins Corey and Carrie realize their survival is at the mercy of their cruel and superstitious grandmother. And this cramped and helpless world may be the only one they ever know.
Yep.
There it is.
That was a really more thorough summary than I feel like we usually have.
Oh, well, I didn't write it.
I'm just saying. There's a lot going on there. I liked it.
I did not write that. I don't know where I got it from. Probably somewhere in those little sources I put there.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so like I said, this was written. Oh, hold on, guys. My laptop. Okay. Literally, it's giving me problems again, y'all. I am cursed. Swear to God, I'm cursed.
We both need laptops.
No, I just got this.
Oh.
Remember?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine.
I need a laptop.
Yeah,
there we go.
Katie
Universe, I'm telling you. Not for lack of trying. I've been shopping and they're all expensive and there's so many that I get overwhelmed and I stop shopping. Yeah. And then the next day I'm like, oh, I still need a laptop.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get there.
A lot. Okay. Anyway, so Flowers in the Attic was written by V.C. Andrews. It was published in 1979.
Okay.
And it's actually the first book in a whole series about the Dahlen Ganger family.
Okay.
That's how I think you say the name.
Dollenganger. Well, I listened to it on
audio.
On audio.
How they say it.
Yeah, Dollenganger.
Dollenganger. Okay. It was twice adapted into films. One was in 1987, which I remember watching on TV again, long before I needed to. And then in 2014, they did one on Lifetime. Heather Graham was the mom.
Oh.
Yeah, and somebody else was the grandma. I didn't go into too much on the movies. I just wanted to talk about the book.
Oh, was it Ellen Burstyn?
It may have been.
Okay.
May have been.
I
didn't
read
look it up and I didn't watch it. I didn't watch that one.
Yeah,
I watched the 1987
the original movie.
The book was also adapted into a stage play by V.C. Andrews' ghostwriter, who we'll talk more about later. His name is Andrew Niederman. It was released in 2014, and in 2015, it premiered on stage in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which this probably would be a very interesting stage
like a
adaptation,
drama.
I think. I mean, it would get a little weird, but I think it'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on adaptation wise, how you go about it. This actually was V.C. Andrews' debut novel.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a banger because she made bank. It was super popular and it remains so. And it sold over 40 million copies.
Dang.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So many. Okay.
And I think probably one of the reasons it remains popular is because it's so controversial.
I agree.
You ban a book, that's how you're going to get people reading it.
And it is well written. I mean, we'll get into like the topic, the subject matter and stuff, but like the writing is quite good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's a great writer. I forgot that about this book, that it was so well written. So here are the other books in the series because it takes, I don't want to, should we just have spoilers? Because like this is an old book.
This is an old book and I think we should just have spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the books in the series that come after take place like after their escape.
Okay.
And now I have not read any of them. I kind of want to now because I'm like kind of curious. And then some of them that came out later that her ghostwriter wrote are like prequels.
Oh, okay.
But these in the series, Petals on the Wind came out in 1980. If There Be Thorns came out in 81. Seeds of Yesterday came out in 84. And Garden of Shadows came out in 86. She passed away in 87. So, and then her ghostwriter took over.
Oh, she passed away in 87.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Okay.
I think we'll get there in a minute, but she passed away and then her ghostwriter took over and wrote new books in 2014 through 2020.
Okay.
I don't know if he's still doing it, but that's the most recent stuff I found. So back to Flowers in the Attic. She was trying to pitch this in 1978, and in her pitch letter, she described the novel as a fictionalized version of a true story.
What?
Yeah. About real children who struggle to survive under almost unendurable circumstances. Basically a horror story. That's what she said.
But she didn't say it was like her story.
No.
She just said it was a true story of someone based on one.
She always claimed that the story, she drew it from the life story of one of her doctors, not her own. And she had lots of health problems, which we'll talk about in a second.
I see. Okay.
So she always said that it was a story that someone told her. One of her doctors told her.
Dang.
Yeah.
About himself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Which
would
we
make
know
sense,
Chris goes on to be a doctor. Yeah. Okay.
Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? But there you go.
It gives it some intrigue.
It does.
For sure.
I thought that was super interesting. And okay, so her name she was born with was actually Cleo Virginia Andrews. So she switched the C and the V.
Okay.
Into V.C. Andrews. But she was known as V.C. Andrews in the U.S. to appeal to a male audience.
Okay.
But in the UK, she's always been known as Virginia.
Interesting. Virginia Andrews? Okay. I don't know. Maybe because I already knew what this book was, and every memory I have of this book, I just always knew it was written by a woman.
Right. Well, and she wasn't being secretive about it.
No, you can put your initials on stuff. That's totally fine. It was just, I guess I just never assumed she was a guy because of that, like the VC thing.
Oh, I was like,
You know, but also like my whole frame of mind around it, I probably just always knew that, it was written by a woman.
Well, and there was probably a picture of her on the back or whatever, you know. But she had a lot of like myths that surrounded her. The first one was people did think that this story was based on her life because she did have some weird like relationship with her mom and stuff. But also she had some other stuff. So I'll give you these. A New York Times obituary said that she kept her age secret her whole life. And she was believed to be in her late 40s or early 50s when she died. But she never really told people her factual age.
I wonder why.
Well, I mean, we know women who do that.
Yeah.
I can think of
and I wonder why.
But I think it's because women have unfair societal expectations placed upon you.
Yeah.
And I personally am fine with my age. I have no problem with that. But I don't judge people if
right.
Because our society they're assholes.
Yeah.
Patriarchy. Okay?
Yes.
A People magazine profile in 1980. This is all quoted from that article. She spent most of her life as an invalid, actually, in Portsmouth, Virginia. She had progressive arthritis.
Ooh.
And as Katie has arthritis, and you know how like there's all different kinds and all different levels, but hers got really, really bad.
So she had it as like a young person?
Yeah. And she had to stand at her desk to write because sitting down was too uncomfortable, which you could probably relate to.
Yep.
And she said herself in 85 that her handicap began, that was her words, not mine, when she was coming downstairs at school and her heel caught on something. She fell forward and twisted to catch the banister. And later, the doctors found the twist had been very violent. It tore the membrane on her hip and started little bone spurs. And then since then, it progressed.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what happened to me when I tore my meniscus.
Right.
Because I tore my meniscus when I was 38 or 39.
That's still young.
But I guess what I'm saying is I was already, feeling stiffness and stuff. So it wasn't like out of nowhere. But it did go from like 10 to 100 overnight. And the doctor kind of told me the same thing. Similar, not necessarily the bone spurs, but that essentially it flooded all my joints. Oh. And since I was already like struggling with arthritis, that it just like progressed it much faster.
It's almost like it lit a match.
Yeah. Like it triggered the rest of it.
Well, because your whole body's connected.
Correct.
So one thing is going to affect everything else. It just does.
Yep. So I feel that.
Yeah. So that was kind of her, unfortunately, her journey. And she said a newspaper said once that she was paralyzed and it made her angry because she's like, I'm not paralyzed. Mm-hmm. And she said this, they think that if you're in a wheelchair, you're paralyzed or else you would be up on your feet. And I do walk, but since they don't see me walk, they don't think I can.
Yeah. You should never assume.
Yeah. And also you should never assume that people who do walk don't need to use wheelchairs sometimes either.
Correct. Right. Or some sort of mobile help for their mobility from time to time. Yeah.
So I can understand her frustration with that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not paralyzed, but like also I don't have to give you my whole medical background if I don't want to.
Also that.
Like,
right.
It's none ya.
Like, unless I tell you in an interview that I'm paralyzed, you shouldn't print that I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Okay. So that's kind of a little background about her. I will tell you this.
So did she die because of her?
No.
Okay.
That's why I'll just go ahead. I'm going to jump ahead.
Scared.
Katie's like, wait a second.
Oh my God. What?
I mean, it's really
sure
painful. You don't die from arthritis.
Okay. Well, I'm also pretty sure, but let's hear the real story.
I think it can make you susceptible to injuries and other things.
Yeah. You're more at risk.
But I don't think it's a fatal diagnosis.
I don't think so either.
Okay. So she died in 86 of breast cancer.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, which is really sad. And that same year, Andrew Niederman, who I mentioned before, he actually published some of his own books at the time. One you may know is The Devil's Advocate, which was made into a movie with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron. Remember?
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah? I was like, remember that movie?
Yeah, I do.
I love that movie. Anyway, he was approached by, did I say, is his name Andrew Niederman? Hold on. I'm going to correct myself live because I always be saying that wrong. Hold on. Yeah, his name was Andrew. Okay.
Because you were thinking maybe you messed up because of her last name.
Yeah.
No, but that's his name. Okay.
But that is his name, Andrew Niederman. Okay. He was approached by VC Andrew's agent, whose name is Anita Diamant, who also is an author, by the way.
She is?
Uh-huh. I swear I have read books by her, and now my brain has blanked. To be continued. So interestingly enough, he had never read her books. Get this, you're going to love this. But his wife was a fan. And he said he'd also been a high school teacher, so he was familiar with teenage girls.
These are his qualifications.
Yes.
His wife read the books and he's taught teenage girls.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
wow.
What a genius fit. So anyway, when the agent asked him to finish the Flowers of the Attic prequel, Garden of Shadows, because she had already started writing it. So they had to find somebody to finish it.
Okay.
He said yes. Now, I don't know why they asked him. I don't know how they found him. I don't know.
I mean, I guess maybe his writing style, I haven't read anything by him, is similar to hers.
But whatever it is, he felt he was qualified, even though he'd never read it because osmosis. I don't know.
I almost need to read one of them then just to see. Was it a good fit?
I'm thinking I may have read Devil's Advocate back in the day when the movie came out, because I used to love to do that. But I don't remember it enough to say I for sure did.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's just basically all the little tidbits I have about her. I mean, the book was super controversial, as we know. I mean, we'll go ahead and talk about it now because of the incest that's in the book.
Yep.
And not just between the brother and the sister. That happened.
Their parents.
But the parent, which that one's tricky.
Yeah.
Because it was her half uncle, but still blood relation.
Yes.
So that one I wasn't as freaked out about, because I was like, well, in Victorian times, they would marry their first cousins.
And she actually says that to the kids.
But her explanation was super fucking weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
And she was like, well, in some societies, even people who are closer in blood relations get married. This is paraphrasing. Get married.
Basically, she said
and I was like, okay.
That's weird. Yeah, I also wondered, but then it got shot down later in the book when I was listening. I was like, because they mention, so the dad of the kids who end up locked in the attic. So it's confusing because his name's Christopher, right?
Yes.
And the son's name is Christopher. Well, Dad Christopher is the half uncle.
Yes.
But they tell this story about how his mom was this young woman who they kind of say was sort of a gold digger because the grandfather was about to die when she had the kid. And I actually wondered, I was like, I wonder if they're related at all.
Oh yeah,
maybe it wasn't his kid.
Maybe it wasn't.
But then they talk about how much they looked alike, how much the now grandfather, who that would have been his younger brother, the half uncle, how much they looked alike. So then I was like, okay, maybe it really was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so this was a super controversial book. It was banned. I thought I had wrote a bunch of stuff about it being banned, but I think I didn't, because it was
it's just
obvious.
So much. Yeah.
It was just, and it's just obvious. And it's the common story of banned books. You ban them and it makes teenagers want to read them.
Absolutely.
It's just the same. That's just the way it is. That's the way the teenage brain works. And honestly, I kind of am that way too still as a 44-year-old lady. I am curious. You tell me, it's like the whole red button theory. It was like, don't touch the button. Don't touch the button. Don't you touch that button. Then you just want to touch it.
Yeah. Or even in Beauty and the Beast, when he's like, never go in the West Wing.
What's she
in the West Wing?
Fucking West Wing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you hear a scary noise at night, you're like, I gotta just go see it.
Yeah, me too.
And then you die.
I haven't died yet, but
well, me either. But I mean, in horror movies,
that is how you could. Yes,
in horror movies.
Yeah.
So oddly enough, I couldn't find a whole lot of discussion questions.
Okay.
I
have a few overarching thoughts.
Okay, start with those.
So this is kind of heavy. I think I wouldn't have picked up on as a younger person reading it, but I thought that the book did a good job of really portraying the innocence of children.
Oh, agreed.
And the easy ways that they're manipulated, particularly in pursuit of love from their parents, from the adults in their lives. Because it was like every time Kathy, because we hear this through her eyes, she's the narrator, so she's 12, I think, when the book starts. She's the one sort of questioning the mom to her face a lot. But then the mom always has like an answer that's never a great answer, but Kathy wants to believe it.
Right.
And I think it just really was heartbreaking to me because obviously this is an extreme story, but like things like this do happen to children, or children are taken advantage of, and just like or abused or neglected or negligence, like not paid attention to, and just how much children crave that. And I just thought the book, that was the most heartbreaking part to me, was the way that like they didn't need all the material stuff and all the wealth. And I think there's even a part where Kathy's like, she could like have gotten a job, you know, selling shoes at a department store, and we could live in a box, but at least we would be together. And like, that's what kids want.
Well, and I think you realize, and this I don't think I picked up on when I was younger, definitely that, you know instantly that the grandma's fucking crazy. You don't realize the mom is for a while.
Yep.
And I thought it was interesting to watch her progression with her mental health.
Yep.
Because I feel like maybe when she left that home and left that awful situation, and her spouse, whether it was whatever, familial or not, they tried really hard to not have that. Like their house was one of love.
Yeah.
Or I think it was appearance of love. I don't know. And then she's back in that environment with both her parents. She gets the shit beat out of her by her dad at least once. We don't know if it's more. And then her mom's berating her. So it's like, it was interesting to me to watch that progression of her, like, I'm going to get you out of here. And then she just very slowly gives up.
Yep.
She just, because it's hard.
It's hard.
And she finds a way to disassociate so strongly that she just eventually acts like her kids aren't there at all.
Yep.
And then tries to kill them.
Yeah. Yeah. That was shocking.
Okay.
To me.
I forgot about that part. And I was almost done with the book, and I wasn't quite done yet, but I was like, I'm going to go ahead and do the research on this. And just get some tidbits. And I read that. I like spoiled it for myself. And I was like, shit, I forgot that happened. I would have been surprised in the book because I forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I knew that one of them died. I just couldn't remember
how. Why. Yeah. So one of the younger twins, the little boy, Corey.
Yeah, Corey.
Gets sick, really, really sick. And in the end is poisoned.
Well, that's why
they realize he was slowly being poisoned, as they all were.
But he had more because the girl wasn't eating. Or Kathy wasn't eating, and Chris was giving his to him. Yeah.
So he had enough for it to kill him. Yeah. And you assume it's the grandmother.
Right.
But you
find out at the end.
Because so the whole premise, which you've probably read it, if you haven't and you're just hearing this for the first time, the whole premise is that when the dad dies, they go to the grandparents who have already disowned them, disinherited them, didn't know about the 4 kids. And the mom says, you have to kind of like hide out in this attic until I can get my father to accept that you're alive, that we need to be back in his life. And it's supposed to be a day, and that's supposed to be a week. And as Dani mentioned, it ends up being years.
Yeah.
And there's always a reason. And then you sort of get that, like, it reminded me kind of Stockholm syndrome in a way where like Kathy uses the word imprisoned a few times, but then her mom's always kind of able to talk her out of it. But like the meantime, she's bringing them gifts, and every time they question how long it's going to take, she has a reason.
She gaslights them like crazy.
Yeah.
And then Chris he like worships his mom, which happens with little boys all the time. Not in my house.
Because he's 14 when the book starts.
And he just thinks his mother is flawless. And so whenever she says something, he wants to believe it. And Kathy is pissed the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time.
And she's the only one who really says something back.
Yeah. And the mom ends up like physically like hitting Chris at some point, and Chris immediately like forgives her. But Kathy, it's almost like she's seen that side
she hit
now.
Kathy first.
I thought she hit Chris. She hit him across the cheeks when at the party. She hit him. Unless there were two parts where she hit. She smacked him on one cheek and then she smacked him on another.
I don't know.
When he came back from the sneaking around the halls at the Christmas party.
She wasn't there.
Right. So he's sneaking around. She comes and wakes up Kathy. I wonder if the audiobook has like rewriting or something.
No, it's me.
So so they get out for the first time. The whole time they've been there. It's months at this point. And the mom shows them a hiding spot where they can watch this Christmas party.
Oh.
And they go back, but he explores the house, and the mom comes to check on them, and he's not there.
That's right. You're right.
So that part.
Okay, that part. Right.
But that's the first time that she shakes Kathy, like, where is he? And then when he walks in, she hits him.
I remember when I was a kid how frustrated I was that they didn't just run. Yeah. I was so frustrated the whole time. This time I was like, okay, I get it. Like, what the fuck are they going to do? Like, they got these little,
where do they run
with
to?
The twins. Right. What are you going to do?
And you can't leave them behind. And the grandmother's already been physically abusive to them.
Right.
So you're leaving them behind. And I thought it was interesting, really, from the time that they're in the attic for the whole book, Kathy refers to them as our twins.
I know.
Like, she's like, our twins aren't growing like they should.
Well, and she talks about it, like how they started taking on the role of parents.
Yeah. They had to.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Well, before I ask any of these questions, I don't have that many. Did you like the book?
I did like the book.
Even though it's heavy. I mean, it's a heavy.
It was written really well.
Dark book, but it's kind of I was thinking Katie probably does like this because it is true crime-esque. Mm-hmm. Like,
well, there's a story of the woman, I want to say in Sweden, I meant to look this up before I'm on here, that like recently that her father built, recently meaning in the last 5 or 6 years, built, like, was abusive to her growing up, whatever, built something in his basement. He had to go through several sections to get to, and kept her there. She had children in there.
No.
And it was only like, I think so. Ugh. It was only like 4 feet tall or something.
What?
And the woman was like almost 6 feet tall. Anyway, lived in the house with his wife the whole time, would take them like food and stuff.
What?
They finally got out. I'm going to send you a link to this. And
I don't want it.
And he had told, and people said to like the wife, they're like, you didn't like notice that, like, hello, where did you think your daughter went? But he had just said, like, because she ran off. And
what?
So the mom just thought she had run off.
Don't send me
She was
that.
in there for like years.
I don't want to know.
And then just like, I mean, this is like within the last 5 or 6 years.
Oh my God. I can't.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you read this book and you go, this is, like I said, this is very extreme, but you can pull some nuggets out of it. But then I remembered that story, the true crime story. And I was like, yeah, like this actually happens to people. And like, yeah.
That's why I can't do true crime, guys.
Yeah.
This book, I think it's very well written. I do think it's a really interesting story. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy read.
No.
And I was reading this at it's been a really heavy time. I don't want to talk about any of it now.
Yeah, this is probably not a great time.
But I was like, well, this is a shitty book to read right now when everything's really heavy and like everything's a lot.
It's not really an escape because you're going through
a stressful book. Like I was stressed out anyway, that I felt even more stressed because you do feel tension the whole time.
The whole time.
The whole time you do not, like, you're like this, like you don't relax, especially when they start escaping. And you're like, okay, this is it. And it's not. And then the kids get sick. And then you're like, what is happening? And then the mom gets remarried. And you're like, this is it. And then it's not.
Yeah.
And she's a bag of trash.
She is.
Okay,
She
so
really
you did
is.
like the book. I
did
think
like
it's a
it.
good book
I did
too.
like it. Yeah, I really was intrigued the whole time. I did listen to really all of it. Mina Suvari was the narrator. She was great.
I bet she was really good.
It's a 15-hour audiobook.
You zoom it up?
I started on 1.5, but it was too fast for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because Mina
You're
talks
missing
kind of
stuff?
fast
Oh.
anyway. And so I felt like it was just like, hey, like it was
too
too
quick.
much like that. So I think I ended up at like 1.3 or something like that. And I think it took me closer to 11 hours to listen.
When
Something
I
like
do
that.
audiobooks, I am crazy. I listen to it at like 2.0.
Yeah, I think that would have been too fast for this one. I think because I liked it so much too.
Oh, you couldn't absorb it.
I wanted to have that moment to like,
Yeah.
and even at what I was listening it to, there was more than once or twice. It was freaking 11 hours, several times that I did go back and re-listen to a part or two in case if I
Like
just
you
got
missed
distracted
it. Yeah.
for a second or whatever. Someone asked me a question and I'm like, wait, what did they say? So that to me is like, oh, I liked this book.
Yeah.
Because I didn't
Like
want to
you
miss
didn't want to
anything.
skip it.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can listen to podcasts on faster too. I wonder if anybody listens to us on speed.
Lindsay does.
What?
Lindsay said she listens to us at 1.5 and it sounds normal. It sounds like us in real life.
We must sound crazy, I think.
She says it sounds like us in real life. That's what she said.
I don't
says
feel
we
like
slow
we're
down.
fast talkers.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm from South Louisiana. We don't do nothing fast. We just pop open a beer and eat some food. We do
there
that
you go.
quick.
We do that fast. Yeah.
But you're from the Midwest. Y'all ain't fast either. What you talking about?
We are not.
Oh
We
my
pop
God.
open beers fast though.
Yeah, so
So there you go.
our mouths be popping.
Our mouths be popping.
All right, whatever.
I will say one thing. I texted you. We don't talk a lot about episode stuff via text because we try to save it. But when I was reading the part really at the beginning where the father's in the terrible accident and she's 12, and then knowing when your father passed and then everything you're going through right now with grief in your family, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe like Dani's reading this book right now. And
Same,
so
girl,
I
same.
texted her and I said, how old were you when you read this the first time? And I think you said like 10
I don't
or
know.
11.
I think it was before my dad passed.
Yeah.
I think. Because like I said, my sister is 7 years older than me. And this book came out in 80. When did it come out? 80? 79. So, you know, I'm sure it was on her shelf for a long time. And I was a voracious reader.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just grab books. I mean, I was reading Stephen King in middle school.
Yeah.
Probably before that.
I would guess you read it before.
But maybe not. I may not have because I read a lot. I mean, I don't think it would have like imprinted that, oh gosh, like that's
okay.
That's the least thing in the book that I remembered.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious. And I mean, it's not funny, but like the writing when they come to tell them, because it's his birthday.
Yeah.
36, right? I think 36th birthday. And so the mom has this party and there's tons of people at the house waiting and he's not there. And then he's not there. And then he's not there. And then finally it's 2 state troopers that show up. But the way they describe it, they're like, this is totally paraphrasing, by the way, but it's like someone ran into him, but then the car also flipped.
Oh, yeah.
But then it caught on fire. Yeah. They were like, and he would have survived that, but then the car flipped. But then after the car flipped, the whole thing caught fire. And he would have survived that, but they couldn't break the window. And I was like, what the heck?
Like, why are they saying all that?
That part was,
yeah.
I mean, it was well written, but it was like,
that was
my God.
Especially like everybody's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot.
And I felt stressed for the mom. Obviously, as the book goes on, she she falls from being a sympathetic character. But like at the beginning where they're still in their house and she's up late with like the bills and like being anxious and stuff, I just thought, oof, I feel that. And then I really thought the way she explained what they owned and what they didn't was really well written. Because she's like, it's not that we're poor,
right?
It's that we planned a life based on future wealth, which is like the American story.
Yeah.
She's like, and we bet on future wealth when we bought this house, when we got our cars, the furniture, the whatever, and now we don't. it's not coming in.
Well, and you know, I did feel for her because that is having the rug ripped from under you, especially because number one, she has no education, she has no training,
right?
She's been a mom and a wife, and that she was okay with that, and that's what she planned on doing for the rest of her life. And then all of a sudden, and I can see why she thought her only option was to go back.
Yeah.
Because we have to remember the time period it was too.
It was supposed to be in 57.
Yeah, in the 50s.
I think. Yeah.
So
when it started.
There weren't a lot of well-provided opportunities for women to support their families, much less 4 children.
Yeah. And when you're already in the middle of it too.
And you already
it's not like you're a young woman just getting on your path.
Right.
You already own all the things that are expensive.
Right.
And the children that you have to also take care of while you're trying to get the money for the things. Like there's no like side hustles on the internet back in 1957.
Well, you have no one to help you with childcare either, because they didn't have family, obviously.
Right.
So that's a huge thing when you have 4 children.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I had more sympathy for that as an adult than I did as a kid.
Sure.
Especially having to remind myself reading it now, like, okay, remember the time period this was.
Yes. Yeah, because I think too, if I had read this as a young person, totally hypothesizing, because I didn't, I think I would have been like, just get a job.
Right. Yes. Because
like, I've had a job since I was 14, just get a job. But like when I was that young,
who are you supporting? No
Who
one.
am I supporting? And it's like, you know, so I think I had sympathy for that too, that she probably didn't feel like there was anywhere else she could go.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, maybe there were friends, maybe there was whatever. I don't know. But she really felt like that.
But you feel stuck. And then you realize later also she is not mentally well.
Mm-mm. Yeah. And I think another thing when I was talking about like the treatment of children and the vulnerabilities of children, I think this book does a good job of showing trauma and how trauma imprints you, and the frustration of what you already spoke about, which is that she escaped that setting and was able to, I'm not going to say like shed the trauma, because like it's always there, but she was able to step outside of it because she wasn't entrenched in it and take that step back. I mean, I think like for me, when I was no longer involved in organized religion, I was able to be like, oh, like I feel differently because I was out of it. But if I was thrown back into it again for whatever reason, even by choice, I would maybe cycle back. So I think for her, I think they did a good job of sort of showing that the environment of trauma is there.
And it's weird because, okay, for those of you that don't know, my mom passed away a couple weeks ago. I talked about her being in the hospital on a few episodes back. And I did not have the best childhood, not because, I mean, my mom and I did not have the best relationship at all times. But there were a lot of things that happened in my hometown. I don't go back there a lot. It's not a place of a lot of happy memories for me. It's a lot. My dad's buried there. Like when I left there and I had to come back for a little bit, after I graduated college, it was awful. I was like, what am I doing back here? And then I had to come back again for a few months later. And anyway, your body remembers. Like I say this because whether you have, I mean, guys, I don't remember even the last time I was back in my hometown. It's been at least 5 years, probably like, I think 2017 was the last time I was there. As my sister and I were in our rental car driving over Lake Pontchartrain from New Orleans into Slidell, I literally started sweating. I started feeling nauseous, and I thought it was because my blood sugar was low, which it probably was.
It may have been a little bit of that.
But I was like, oh my God, I just feel awful. I was like, Tara, I got to get some, like, it was once we got to the hotel and I got a snack, and I was like, that was like almost an immediate reaction of knowing where I was going and being like, ugh, like,
wow.
It was, I can't even explain how weird that is. But I was thinking about that when I was reading the book, because I think I started this book on the fucking airplane. I don't know.
Oh,
I know, y'all. I know. Anyway, I think I was thinking about that because I thought about her when they were walking from the train station in the middle of the night or whatever. And I'm like, and it said something about like her face. And I'm like that her body was probably on that walk, like instantly like back.
Yep. Like she being the mom, knew
what was coming,
what she was going into.
And like your body remembers. There's a book called Your Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah.
I haven't read it.
I haven't either, but
it's on my shelf.
Amazing.
I know. It's on my shelf. My sister gave it to me like 2 years ago and I haven't.
We should read it. Maybe we should read it. Well,
I'm not ready. I ain't ready now.
At some point.
Girl, I gotta wait. But anyway.
Ever since I've heard that phrase and heard about that book that you're talking about, I've noticed little things in my life too.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, why am I acting like that? Or why am I having, I mean, obviously there's body language. We all kind of understand the basic signs of that. But I mean, even beyond that,
well, and
like the sweating or the increased heart rate or the avoidance of something, whether it's a place or an activity or something. And like on the surface, I don't know why.
Right.
And now I will think, well, maybe I should think about this.
Yeah.
Because this is based on something.
Yeah. Like
in the moment right now, there's nothing negative happening to me. So why am I having a negative reaction? Yeah. So, I mean, it's that the way that the trauma was sort of built in, I thought was written well, as much as it sucks. Like it was written well.
I thought it was written well too. I'm going to look at some of these questions.
Oh yeah. A la book club.
I mean, we already talked about some of that.
Okay.
About escaping. Some of this we already talked. Oh, okay. One of the questions was, did their mother ever love them? If so, how and why did her feelings change? I think she always did. I think she just didn't know. Again, when you have underlying untreated mental health issues, if like that affects everything. So I do think she loved them and cared for them. She just didn't know how to human in a positive way.
I agree.
Right. And I think that's because I don't know how much of that is just her trauma that she shut out and then relived, or how much of that is like a biological thing. I don't know.
And I think when you used the word dissociate earlier, that was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was compartmentalizing. It was almost as if the trauma / grief from losing her husband / guilt got to be so much that you said it was hard. Like it was hard. So she was able to somehow compartmentalize that.
Yeah.
And live her life without them.
It's interesting because military people are really, really good at compartmentalizing because they have to. Like when you're in a war zone or you're flying a plane in a dangerous situation, you have to be able to shut off your fear receptors or whatever, that they have a hard time in real life sometimes not compartmentalizing.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, and also disassociating. I always thought I wasn't good at disassociating, but guys, I'm great at it. Lesson learned.
Okay, so when did you discover this hidden talent?
Well, when my mom was sick, she was in the hospital for over 3 weeks. And it was, I don't want to go into the details of it, but it was like a back and forth thing. And Katie knows it was very stressful. My body has been in like high stress for over probably 2 months now. Like I've just not been stressed. And my sister and I would text multiple times a day, and she would be like, how are you doing? I was like, I'm great. I'm just disassociating right now by watching whatever on TV, or I am disassociating by eating candy. By the way, I'm also a huge emotional eater.
Yeah. Hey,
huge.
You got to get through somehow.
Huge. And being in Louisiana for emotional eating is A+. Now, I am still bloated. It's been 2 weeks. I'm still bloated. Like I was getting dressed yesterday. I was like, what is going on with my clothes? I was like, oh, yeah. But anyway, I realized like I am good at disassociating from negative feelings. If I can feel my body start feeling something yucky, I don't know. It's weird. I always thought I was really bad at it because I have like attention focus problems, but that's different.
That's different.
That is different than disassociating.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
compartmentalizing and all the things. Yeah.
Because I can't make myself like, I can't switch it on and off. Like if I'm having problems sleeping, right? I have like anxiety, insomnia. I can't compartmentalize and shut down my brain.
Right.
But in other situations, I can just be like, nope, not talking about it.
Well, that's like you were telling us, like you've driven people to the emergency room.
Oh, yeah.
And been like cool as a cucumber. And they're like literally screaming in pain. And you were like able to do it.
Which is not like me, guys. Like I am, it's weird. And it's
almost like the higher the stress, the more you are able to
maybe
easily dissociate.
Unless there's snakes.
Unless it's snakes, which is the highest level threat stress of all.
Anyway, I don't know why we're talking. Oh, because we're talking about the mom disassociating. Yeah. Because I think she was really good at it in her house because she probably did it her whole life there.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely nuanced. Of course, she's a quote unquote villain, but not in the way that the grandmother was, like you said.
Right.
The grandmother out.
Yeah. Even the grandmother had something like that's the thing that's shitty about humans is that nobody is all good and all bad.
Right.
That's the shitty thing.
She had her moments.
You know, you can't all the way most of the time say, well, you're just 100% disgusting. And well, I mean, she did try and kill her kid. That's pretty horrible.
That's
and gross.
pretty bad.
But there were times that she was super loving before they got to the house. So like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's super, that's why this book I think was good is there was plenty of layers to peel back and undo for all of them.
And I thought it too, I don't know how far in the weeds we want to get on this, but I immediately spotted the way that being overly self-righteous about sexual things and being unrealistic about how you should feel at a certain age or nudity or whatever, how that backfires.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you suppress those things, then unhealthy behaviors surrounding them or thought patterns emerge.
But the interesting thing was the mom and the dad didn't raise them to have those weird, weird things. Like that was even a question was like, what do you think of the family's attitudes towards sexuality? And it said, was it appropriate? Chris and Kathy saw each other naked in pre-addict times, but they had a time where her mom I don't remember if it was Kathy explaining it, but how they talked about it. Like it wasn't anything to be ashamed about. It was, it just was facts.
This is just what you look like and he looks like this because of this. Yeah.
And if you think about it, that society makes us ashamed of bodies and that incorporates religion and et cetera. And laws and blah, 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 whatever. We make each other feel self-conscious for whatever reason that is. And you're so right. Like that grandma from jump, the second those kids were in that attic, she was like, don't you look at each other too long. And it's like, they are like, not even like you're about to hold them prisoner.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? We're like children.
Yeah.
What are you talking
also,
about?
You're like saying things that hadn't even occurred to us.
Right.
But now we're wondering why you're saying that.
So since we're there and we're talking about this, what did you think about the rape incident?
I mean, it was terrible, but like the point at the book when it happened, I kind of understood why it happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you know, it's wild because I read this as a kid and you know, there's multiple parts in the book leading up to this that you think it's about to happen. Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's bad. Like we gotta, which they're brother and sister. So correct. But and then it happened, you know, the rape incident happened. And then even Kathy was like, no, I don't consider it rape because I could have stopped you and I didn't want to or whatever, which no, ma'am, it's still rape. But if you don't have consent at all, then that is not okay. But I thought that it happened more than once. Like thinking back to reading, I thought in my head that it had happened more than once. It was
Right.
just that one time
Just the
towards the
one.
end of the book.
Toward
And
the
I thought
end.
it happened frequently, which is weird how your brain remembers.
Yeah.
It was like Porky's. I thought there was way more.
boob. I think I listened back to that when you're like, I thought there were way more boobs and butts. I was like, there were a lot of boobs
There
and butts.
were, but I thought it
know what
was
you
like
mean.
even more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had never read it before. So I just read the one
Were
time.
you shocked? Or did you know that it was probably going to happen?
I kind of like you. I felt like something was going to happen along the way several times. So I wouldn't say shocked. Maybe a little shocked that it went to that point.
Yeah.
That not quickly, but kind of quickly. And from a jealousy perspective, which again, you're locked in an attic.
I know.
When you're becoming a man and a woman, and you know, and she kisses the stepfather. Not saying that makes it okay or anything.
When she did
that's
that,
a
I was
whole
like,
thing.
oh my God, what are you doing?
Yeah, that was wild.
Just because, like, how did he not wake up?
I don't know.
If somebody kissed me flat out on, well, I mean, a mouse fart wakes me up, but don't come sneaking in my room trying to smooch my face because I will wake up and clock you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, what's on me?
Well, unless you're Joshua Jackson, then you can keep going.
Yeah, keep going. I'll try to clock you till I realize it's you.
But anyway.
But yeah, I kind of understood it, but I'd be interested to read maybe the sequels because it did make me wonder, like once
now?
they're out of there.
I think from some of the things I read, I could be completely wrong, that they like have a relationship after.
Oh, really?
I think so. I could be wrong, but I think that's where it was going.
Oh.
Well, because they have to lie about who they are.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Because they're not. Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. I am interested to read more, and I might.
And I thought it was interesting too, the way that all of that sort of related when they talk about the grandfather and how he just basically idolized the mom when she was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like, I think it was less about her religious wise, like whatever, but more about her not being his possession anymore, and that possessive thing that he like had toward her. So that seemed a little unnatural too.
Well, I mean, he was mentally unstable as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so like
It's just all a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay. I have a dumb question.
Oh, okay.
Well, first, I have two. One's not dumb and the other one is dumb. So we'll end with the dumb question.
Let's do it.
The not dumb question I thought this was interesting because it said this book is often marketed as horror. Do you agree with that classification and why?
Yeah, I read that it was like a gothic novel.
Yeah.
I saw that somewhere and I was like, I don't understand how. I don't think it's horror.
Mm-mm.
I think it's psychological thriller.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. But not horror. I mean, I guess someone dies, but I guess when I think of horror, I think of more I guess you can have real people in horror, but I do think of more fantastical kind of things. Like,
I guess I just think of scary.
Yeah.
Whether that's serial killer, not like psycho grandmas and parents aren't scary.
Right.
I don't know. I agree. I think maybe a psychological drama, something, thriller. Yeah, something along, but horror seems weird.
I don't think it's horror.
Like
we should ask Cody.
Yeah.
We should ask him. I don't know if he's read it, but maybe he'll listen to this and he can tell us
he's
just
young,
based on what
so
we
I don't
said.
know. He may not have.
Based on our conversation, maybe he would have an opinion.
I did see Patrick and Dina this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
And I asked them if they've ever read this, and they were like, no, they hadn't even heard of it.
Oh.
I was like, oh, well.
You better buckle up.
Okay, so here's my last stupid question. I'm not reading all these, but if you had to be locked up in an attic for years, what and who would you want to take with you?
Yikes.
That is such an open-ended question.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we probably can't have communication devices. That's probably.
Yeah, probably not. It would have to be similar to like what they had to deal with. I mean, of course I want to save my children, but then I'm like, well, I don't want my children locked in an attic.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't want anybody to be succumb. I would probably make my sister go with me.
Yeah, I would probably make like a friend like you. But I wouldn't make, my husband and I would end up killing each other within moments. But then I wouldn't want my kids in there.
I know you wouldn't want to succumb anybody to that, but thank you for wanting to succumb me to. You're welcome.
Well, we would just pretend podcast into microphones connected to nothing. We'd be live streaming nowhere. Unlike now where we are apparently live streaming somewhere.
I know. Oh, but they did put on like fake plays.
Yeah, they did. Like the part where she was talking about dancing for hours and hours. I was like, that sounds like fun, actually. But I mean, obviously, there's only so much time.
I don't know. Like, all right. So, fun fact, I realized when I brought my older son to college orientation, by the way, just a few days after I got home from my mom dying.
Jeez.
I know. To the college that my mom and dad both attended. And they are both passed away. Y'all, it was a whole thing. Anyway, I had 2 nights in a hotel room by myself. And I realized while I was there, and I text Katie, like, I have never stayed in a hotel room alone. My whole life.
That's crazy.
Literally my whole life. Because I've never had a reason to. Every time I've traveled, it's been either with my family, somebody in my family, or a friend, or like if I went for like a workshop or something, I had somebody in the room with me. Never alone.
Wow.
And I've only lived by myself once, like solely by myself. And I absolutely hated it. I lived by myself for like a year and it was the worst. And I realized I don't do very good in hotel rooms by myself. I thought I was going to like just love it and like enjoy some alone. I did not. And I mean, I was stressed out. Like, right. It wasn't optimal
under other circumstances, maybe.
It was, I was like, I don't enjoy this. Like, it's not fun to be. I had a nice ass room because I accidentally booked myself a suite.
Suite for one, please.
And I was too lazy to go fix it. And they didn't charge me over. So I was just like, well, I'm just staying. But then I was like, well, I'm in this nice ass room by myself.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Hey. Well, I mean, you've never tried it. So there you go.
But I'm like, okay, do I really not like being alone? Or is it just because I was just in a weird mental state?
I feel like it was the second thing.
I think so too.
If you could do it again in like, I don't know, a couple months, and maybe if you need to go visit him or something, you will. Who knows?
I don't know, but isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And I was like I was texting my sister like that too. I was like, I've never been in a hotel. And she's like, oh yeah, I guess you never would have been in one. I was like, I know. Because I've never had a job where you travel.
Right.
Like Troy has been in 100 hotel rooms. Yeah. Alone. You probably have too.
Yeah.
And I like never.
I actually like if I'm on a work trip that does that, I like look forward to like getting through the work stuff. Like they're like, let's all get drinks. Let's all go to dinner. I'm like, I want to be like in the room by myself.
See, Troy.
To take advantage of being by myself in a really nice room. I don't want to get there at 11, go to bed and wake up and go to work the next day. Like I want to like be alone and awake.
But I think you're good. You're good with, you don't get a lot of alone time, but you're good when you do get it and maximizing it.
I do. Yeah, I do maximize
My brain just kind of goes on like, what do I do now? Yeah. I don't know why.
I see what you mean,
it's weird. I don't know. Yeah. But see, I remember thinking he was so crazy when he would go on those work trips and being like, everybody be going out and like to have dinner and he would not go. And I'm like, what? But I was at home with 2 young kids. Of course, I would be amazing. Like,
take me to eat.
That?
Yeah.
Take me to eat without these.
Right.
Anyway, I was thinking about that with the attic situation.
Yeah.
Because you'd probably get to where you long to be alone, but then after you live in close proximity with those people for so long, you probably could never be alone again.
I feel that.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'm interested to read these next books to see how that transpires.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And it is similar to like when people get out of prison and they can't reacclimate.
Yes.
Like wanting their freedom, which they deserved. But I wonder like, if it doesn't feel as good as you think it will, and it almost is scary.
Yeah.
Well, they were literal children, so I'm sure it was very scary.
Well,
escaping.
Right.
But like it's not as like joyous as you anticipate, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was a lot.
Book was
this
a lot,
book was
man.
a lot, man.
Yeah. And the next, what did we say the next one is? Is the next one Kaleidoscope or is the next one? Okay, good. I'm going to read that on my trip.
I actually got an OG copy, 80s copy.
That's so
and they have a
awesome.
picture of Danielle Steele on the back, full on glamour shot. It is epic. I will bring it.
Please bring it.
And Cooper was like, why does that book smell? I was like, that's the 80s.
It's not just that book smell, it's book from the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
smell.
And it's like, you know, those grocery
Is it a
store?
hardback?
No, it's like a grocery store paperback.
Oh,
like
that's
the
amazing.
small ones.
That's amazing.
I know, because I ordered it from Thrift Books, by the way. That's where I like to order a lot of used books from. And they had one. And it was like, you can like select the quality.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get one that's like new or good. But I wanted to see the cover. And it was probably like close to the bottom quality wise. But I was like, well, it's the OG.
Gotta
so
get
even
it.
if it falls apart.
Even if it falls apart. I love that.
I know.
Yay. Okay,
Do
that's exciting.
you think you're going to watch either of the Flowers in the Attic movies?
I don't think so.
I don't either. I don't think I can do it again.
I don't think I need to. I wanted to finish the book.
Yeah.
Like there was never a time where I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm not reading anymore. But I don't want to read it again. And no, I don't want to see the movies.
Yeah. I don't think I saw the original movie
Mm-hmm.
multiple times, which is weird. I was a weird kid. I don't
like,
know. Why did I watch that? I don't
know.
Anyway.
It's fine.
But I don't want to revisit that again.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a good book.
Yeah.
Would you let your kids read it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your teenagers, whatever. But
yeah.
Like, what do you think the appropriate age for this book is? I don't really know.
It's tricky.
I would say teenagers.
I think teenagers, maybe 13 or 14 and up, I would say. Because I think the younger of that age group would be very shocked.
Yeah.
But would be.
Yeah.
But it would, their critical thinking skills, I think, would kick in on it.
Yeah.
I think
maybe once puberty's kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so.
And kind of is almost.
I mean, it's if nothing else, it's a tale of the dark side of human nature, but it's human nature nonetheless.
Well, and it's also a tale of survival.
Yes.
And things you have to do. You know what else? I forgot to say this. You know what else that this book reminded me of? Did you ever see the movie The Blue Lagoon with Brooke Shields?
No.
So it's her and her cousin, I think. I don't think that it's her brother. They get stuck they're in a shipwreck and they get stuck on a desert island and they end up having a relationship and she has a baby and they're young. And she was young when they filmed it and there was a whole controversy. I can't believe you don't know that movie.
I've heard of it. I've just never seen it. Yeah. I know about
we may have to watch that
and I
later.
Think she's talked about it as a grown person, how it was really inappropriate and
oh yeah, I mean she's topless. I mean she was covered, she had really long hair, like yours, like little, but she was topless and
dang.
But it made me think of how, I mean, human nature is gonna develop. And sexuality is going to emerge no matter where you are and who you are with.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, that just is like a deeper understanding of the human experience.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. Yeah. I'm not going to read it again, though.
Okay.
But I will give it, what did I give Porky's? 1 star? I'll give, if it was stars, I would give the book a 4.
I would say 4. Yeah.
I'd say 4. Yeah.
I think it's
because I think some things were for shock value's sake.
Yeah.
That could have been left out. I don't know. Maybe not though. Maybe the story wouldn't have been as good.
I might give. I think I would give it a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to do trivia before we go? Or is this too okay?
I was like, I thought you meant book trivia. I was like, I don't have that.
Well, I've got 20 questions.
I mean, we need to lighten it up.
We need to lighten up. Let us know if you read it with us, guys, or if you read it before, or all your memories are flooding back listening to us, or you're like me. You had never read it. I'd heard of it. I'm guessing just my parents didn't let me read this book. And then by the time I was picking out my own books, I wasn't like, that's the book I want to read. So it just kind of slipped through the cracks.
Living on the edge.
Yeah.
I was the 80s, guys. Most parents.
She was.
Most parents didn't pay attention.
Oh, no. I don't want the category ones. Okay. I've got one. This is an 80s question from our 80s trivia box.
Okay.
What 80s television show featured Tom Hanks in women's clothing?
Oh, Bosom Buddies.
Yeah.
I always said Bosom Bodies.
Bosom Buddies. What was the theme song? Is Double or Nothing?
I don't know.
This Is My Life by Billy Joel.
I don't even know how that goes.
Is it? This is my life. Is that it?
That's not enough.
It's you're just literally saying the words on the page.
That was 2 notes.
Go ahead, da 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 da. This is my life. Dun 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 dun. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Leave me
that
alone.
was the theme song?
I guess.
Weird.
It's kind of odd.
Okay. All right.
Go.
So this one, it's got a bunch of clues. You're supposed to battle with a partner, but it's just you. So you
It's just
battle
me.
yourself.
Okay.
I'm just going to give you clues and you guess whenever you want. Okay. I was touted as the world's best aerobic exerciser. So get on track and dial my 1-800 number for a free video and brochure. When you buy me, you'll feel like you're cross-country skiing. What am I?
Oh my gosh.
Picture a guy with a really long ponytail.
Nordic Track.
Yes. Nordic
Yes.
Track ski machine. Actually, wrong. He was the gazelle.
Yes.
He was on the gazelle. My bad.
But I thought it was Nordic Track. Weird. You're right. He was the gazelle. Did you guys
Nordic
ever have a Nordic Track?
Mm-mm.
Us either. I think they were expensive.
They were. I mean, exercise equipment. We had a exercise bike called a Life Cycle.
Oh yeah, we had one of those.
Yeah. And I remember my dad used it, not my mom. My dad was the one who would exercise and stuff, but he would pull it into the living room and watch it when he would watch Crossfire on CNN.
Okay.
Or something on CNN. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was his exercise. But I've done that. I've watched
for sure.
shows. Well,
we all do that now, but I don't think a lot of people
like pulling it into the other room.
Because you didn't have TVs in multiple rooms,
right?
A lot of times.
That's true. So you're literally pulling the exercise equipment into the room.
Because it had a wheel in the front. But it was heavy AF.
Oh, I bet.
And so he would pull it in there to watch Crossfire.
That's a workout on its own.
Do they still have that show? It's
Crossfire?
just old men yelling at each other, basically.
I don't know.
You know what it is, though, right? They would just debate.
They debate stuff. Yeah. I can see it in my head. I just don't know if I've seen it any time in the last decade. Tell us, listeners. All right. Well, thanks for listening into this. Hopefully this is the dreariest of our Xennial Girl Summer.
I think so. But we had to read it.
We had to, and I'm glad we did.
I am too.
I really am. So I can't close this box. I'm having trouble. Help. While she does that, I'm going to remind you to please leave a review, 5-star review, wherever you're listening. That helps other people find us. And if you have a couple minutes, actually leave a few little words about why you like our podcast, and make sure you're following us everywhere, including the TikTok and the YouTube.
I mean,
we talk about Caesar salad. Okay.
We do talk about
we do.
Caesar salad.
But do all those things and follow us on Patreon, and keep it here for more Xennial Girl Summer.
Yay!
We'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.